Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. And you?
Hi.
Hi, everybody. I'm good.
Wonderful. How's your Saturday morning treating you?
A little busy. I have a 4-year-old who's a little under the weather. So Daddy took him. I know. And I'm like hoping I don't get it. It's not COVID, so that's good. But colds are never fun.
No.
Yeah.
Never fun.
At all. Awesome.
Where are you guys all calling in from?
Kate and I are from Indiana, so
Yes.
we're in Bloomington.
Awesome. Very cool. I grew up in Chicago.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. I'm in Alabama.
Oh, nice. Well, you're me because I'm in Atlanta now. So.
Oh, excellent. Very nice.
Very cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, shall we dive in?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So, Felicia, how did you get into acting?
So I had kind of an interesting road getting into acting. I went to college, University of Iowa. I graduated with honors and went into Fortune 500 healthcare consulting. I don't know why.
Oh.
That was my first kind of job out of school in corporate America. I did take an elective my senior year of college, which was acting, and I fell in love with it. But that Midwest work ethic, which you guys know, right? You go to school, you get a good job. So I kind of put in the back of my head, like, no, I love this. I always loved entertaining. Danced, really as a recreational passion, growing up, but nothing that I thought I could do, in terms of making a living. And then I ended up getting another job in corporate America, pharmaceutical sales. I worked for Pfizer, of all people. And my job, the company I actually got hired by was bought out by Pfizer. So within that year, I knew I was going to lose my job, right? So they offered me a severance package and I took it. And I moved to Arizona, I had family there. And that was kind of, I like to say, because I had a little bit of stability knowing people there, that was kind of all the guts I had to move that far out west at that point. So on a dare, which sounds very childish, one of my friends said, well, you don't have a job right now. You have a severance package for 6 months. Why don't you audition for the Phoenix Suns dance team? And I'm like, no, I'm like, I haven't danced in years. I'll never make it. She's like, well, what do you have to lose? I'm like, well, you're right. Nothing. So I auditioned. 500 girls auditioned for 5 spots. And during the second round of these auditions was the interview. And the Ford Robert Black modeling agency at the time was one of the judges. The owner, Cherie Hartwell, was one of the judges. And she asked me a bunch of questions and what did I want to do? And had I ever modeled? And I said, yeah, when I was young, but it's not really something I'm interested in. Long story short, I make the team. At the same time, get another pharmaceutical job. So I have a full-time job. I'm now dancing for the Phoenix Suns professionally. I start modeling that year. That ends up getting me signed to Ford in LA. At the time, Ford LA and New York had I guess kind of like a crossover business model with Innovative Artists, which is a big acting, talent agency for models who wanted to cross over into acting, which, I was getting closer and closer to kind of pulling that trigger. And so, a year later, I moved to LA. I signed with my agent 2 weeks after being in LA, who I'm still with to this day. And it's like 15 years later. Yeah. So that's how I got into acting, was on a dare to try out for dance team. Yeah.
That's an incredible story.
Yeah.
Wow.
So many left turns
Twists
in it.
and turns.
But all great stories started with the dare. And so awesome.
I mean, I like to tell younger actors too, not even younger. It doesn't matter what age you start, right? And it doesn't even have to be acting. If you have a passion or, a goal to do something, chances are it's kind of put on your heart for a reason, and it's never too late. Mm-hmm. And you just, timing is always perfect, I always say. So
nice. All right.
Yeah,
well,
that's great.
How did that perfect timing lead to Beacon Hills?
Well, a lovely woman by the name of Wendy O'Brien, who cast Teen Wolf, as you know, she called me in for the role, and I was super excited about, I mean, there's so many things about, Kali that are she's just a badass, right? She's fierce. She, I think, like to say she was ahead of her time because this was years ago, and now, the future is female, and now we're really moving into women's empowerment, but she was really ahead of the game. I love that she was physical because, I do martial arts, done Krav Maga, and a kickboxer for over 10 years. So to be able to get to, maybe do some of those things was exciting. And I love that she was, the only female alpha in a pack of men. That's fun.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah.
How much did you know about the character when you got cast?
Really not too much. I mean, I knew that she was an alpha. I knew that she was the only female, like I mentioned, in this pack of men, that she was always going to be barefoot. That was interesting. I did know that.
Oh.
Because it mentioned it in the breakdown. I wish I still had it. But it mentioned her long toenails, and that was something that was, definitely a part of her character. But other than that, I didn't know. I knew she was going to be a part of this new kind of, group of the, bad guys, if you will, for season 3, but I didn't know anything beyond that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So on the subject of the long nails, what was it like moving around, and especially doing like stunt work and fight scenes wearing those long toenails?
Yeah, it was challenging. I always advocated to do as many of my own stunts as I could within reason that they would allow me to, because of obviously insurance and safety. I also have, one of the best stunt women, Caitlin Deschelle, who doubled for me she's amazing, as you guys all know. But I did a lot of my stuff, and also shooting in Griffith Park at 4:00 in the morning barefoot, and the costumes was awesome, and they tried to figure out ways to kind of maybe put moleskin, if you guys know what moleskin is, on the bottom of my feet to kind of protect, walking around like on twigs and branches and whatever, but you just learn to kind of suck it up. And it, in a way, I think it just stripping all that away and just going barefoot, it kind of method ways was the character, right? So I toughened up, my feet toughened up, and it made sense for Kali because that's how she rolls. So
fun.
Oh, you're on mute.
Yep. Were you aware of Teen Wolf before you got cast?
I had heard of it for sure. Obviously, I knew of the movie, but then when I had heard that they had made a show, and obviously, Jeff Davis, you cannot not know his background with Criminal Minds and everything like that. So that was already intriguing to me because I knew the writing was going to be good. And of course, when I got a little further into the audition process, I started binge watching, and then I, got sucked in, as we do.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
What was the Teen Wolf set like?
So much fun. Honestly, so much fun. It's I'm sure, as you guys have talked to so many other people, they all say the same thing. It's funny, family setting. Everyone we would get together at Jeff's house and, watch the show. And the set was, just a lot of laughs. I just have a lot of good memories. I, wasn't there extremely long, but, think very fondly on my time there. Made some very good friends along the way who I'm still very close with. Haley Webb and I are very good friends to this day. So, and it's nice. I like to see where, these actors have gone on to do amazing things. Everyone is, doing really well. So I feel like they did a great job casting, seeing all the talent, and then, what it would turn into leading to, people's careers down the road.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It was a very talented cast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Embarrassment of riches.
For sure. Absolutely.
What was the process like of getting into the wolf makeup?
For me, it was actually pretty easy, which, people always ask, and I know been asked the question before, and I think on some fan sites, they're like, oh, well, Kali never fully transformed. I didn't on camera. I never did. But when I got the role, they had me go in, as you know, our special effects makeup was incredible. And I had to do the whole, clay cast to kind of make all the pieces, if they were ever going to transform me. I'm kind of sad. I never got to fully wolf out, to be honest.
Yeah.
I got to see it, what it would look like with the prosthetic pieces on the cheeks and the hair on the ears and all that, but they never fully did that with me. So really, honestly, it was simple. It was my nails on my fingers and my toes took probably, 20 minutes, if maybe even less than that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's easy, right? They're kind of just glue on, right? Putting the teeth in, that's easy. They were already, together. The part I had to really get used to, and I know Gideon Emery, as you know, plays Deucalion, was hard. It was hard for both of us to get used to the contacts. Because I don't wear contacts in my own life, but from what I've been told from people that do, these contacts are bigger. They're just a little different. And we had a great team of people that would put them in, but there were times when we would need a break because you just start to your eyes start crossing. You're like, where am I? At least I could still see. Gideon was literally made blind. He couldn't see at all.
Yeah.
So, but it was fun. It's so fun. Playing a character like that, that's truly a creature and outside of, your normal human self.
Yeah.
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 Definitely.
Are there any actors or characters you wish you'd had more scenes with?
Styles. Yeah. He's so good. Yeah. It's so many. But I gravitate to humor and I just love his character. I think he's great.
He is. That's accurate.
Funny.
Yep. Kind of a related question. If you could have played any other character or creature on the show, what would you have wanted to be?
Oh man, that is low. That's tough. It would involve rewriting history and changing, what had to be, but I would have liked to have been the leader of the Alphas. I would have liked to have been Deucalion, I would have liked that. Also, I think he got to do so much cool stuff, just sensory wise to be able to be visually impaired while doing these scenes. I think it gives you even more of a freedom as an actor because you're not, you should never be watching yourself, right? You should always be present. But again, you're relying on just hearing people's voices and their tone and how you're reacting versus seeing their face, right? And working off them in that way. It's challenging in another way. And so for that reason, as an actor, to geek out as an actor, that would be cool. But then also just, I don't know, I would like to see a woman in that position and see maybe if things would have ended up differently.
Nice.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
Yeah, it'd been cool, right? Maybe she overtakes him, I don't know. And he's relegated to just, I don't know, to being, having to listen to me.
Nice.
It's funny you bring that up because we actually had a fan question of what do you think would have happened if Kali had become a leader of the Alpha Pack?
Well, I would have loved to have seen them really flesh out more of the history with, Jennifer, aka, Julia, and Kali, to see that history, because I think there was a lot more there than we got to see. And, I think Kali's line that she walked, unfortunately, was love or power, right? And she really, I don't think she was forced to make that choice. I mean, she was pressured, but she ultimately made the choice. And I personally believe she regretted that, but she was already so far down that road. Right.
Yeah.
And I think there weren't as many options open to her, or at least she didn't see a path to those other options had she made a different choice. So it would have been interesting. I mean, I feel like, had she been really put in that position of power, like, who knows which way she would have chose. Like, I want to root for, I mean, I don't think there's the notion of good guys, bad guys is kind of hard, right? Because no one thinks they're the bad guy. They don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There is an inherent reason and a drive with why they're doing what they're doing. Right. So, but without knowing Kali's full history and backstory, it's really hard for us to judge without having that vantage point of knowing like what drove her to do what she did, who hurt her, right? Or who betrayed her, because hurt people, right?
Yeah.
So I think that would be something so interesting to explore. And then also maybe, if given that opportunity, or someone who saw the goodness in her, that she did have that ability to have mercy with Julia in that moment, right? Mm-hmm. Well, there's something deeper to her there. And if someone would have seen that, could that have turned everything around for her? We'll never know, but.
It's interesting though.
It's interesting to think about, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting that you bring that up. One of the things that I wanted to ask about was the relationship between Kali and Julia, because it's really the crux of the whole story of 3A, because that's the connector between the Alpha Pack and the Darach storyline. So that's really the whole season plays out around that relationship. But at the same time, we don't really get a lot of details about what that relationship was like before the betrayal. Mm-hmm. Have you thought about that at all? Like what the nature of that relationship was like before Kali made that decision?
I did. And I think, and Haley and I talked about it. We didn't have an extremely long amount of time to talk about it because, you get a script and it's kind of like, okay, well, this is, we didn't know months in advance is my point.
Right. Yeah.
But as actors, and you talk about that history, I think they were very, very close. And I think that Julia was I think not only a confidant to Kali, but like a moral compass, right? I think she kept her grounded. I think if you think about it in a way of like, that what's the parable of like, which wolf do you feed? That's the one that goes, right? I think, I think Julia really had Kali made the choice to kind of go that path. I think she was the first one that saw the goodness in her and saw all of those things I just talked about. And I think they did forge a very close bond. At the end of the day, Kali made her choice, right? But still in that moment could not kill her friend, and we talked about it. Was like, was it more than that? Could have very well been more than that. I think she loves Julia. Absolutely. And I think that's part of the reason why she couldn't make that final blow. Right. But, but ultimately, she wanted that position of power. So she was recognized and, not relegated to being, just a wolf that really had no say and no pack and no power. Right. So I think she ultimately she made a sacrifice and, and it came back to haunt her, obviously.
Yeah.
But in those final moments, I also think, I do think she had so many other things to say, but her pride got in the way. Right. And that happens to so many of us, I think, in life, at least one time or another. We know what we feel and what we should express, but, we shut it down for whatever reason. And, and that was that.
That's awesome to hear. That's so interesting because, when you talk about characters and what they're bringing to the table in a story, every character has their fatal flaw. the thing that they have to either get over or they're stuck with forever.
Right.
And unfortunately she was stuck with it, because it's some hurdles are just too high. But it's always interesting to kind of hear, the at least in this case, like the limited time you and Haley had to talk about, kind of like what that is and how it fed into Kali's fatal flaw. So yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool. How would you compare Teen Wolf to working on other shows like Shooter or Days of Our Lives?
Oh, wow. That's a big swing. Well, Days was my very first job many, many, many moons ago. So, I mean, I don't know if there's a direct comparison to Teen Wolf and Days. I mean, I think if anything, it was Days of Our Lives was a great training ground, right? Because the virtue of a soap, you're doing, sometimes 2 episodes a day. So it was a great training ground for getting dialogue, down pretty quickly. And I certainly enjoyed my time there. Shooter definitely lines up very closely, I would say, with Teen Wolf, and the fact that, at least for me, it was a very physical role. Again, I mean, I played basically an assassin. So got to do a lot of, I did actually all of my own stunts in Shooter. I mean, I was flipping guys over my back.
Really
and
cool.
It was fun. A lot of
Awesome.
weapons work, which was really fun to do. I mean, we had a great team training us all, people that were like Green Berets and special ops guys. And so that was really fun to be able to, I didn't realize how heavy some of those guns are though. Like you're running with them and I was like, okay, it's like 40 pounds and you're like trying to chase somebody. But that it was a great cast. And similar, to Kali. I mean, I think Carlita had a choice too. She was also like kind of the only woman in really like a man's world, right? And was put in countless situations where she had to prove herself or to really find her way and to forge her own path. And that involved making some choices that I think she came to regret, right? So very similar in that sense, but also very strong female. And I would say, probably a little more than Kali. She's a little more vulnerable, not initially, but showed a little more of her heart on her sleeve within her arc of the storyline.
That's wonderful.
Awesome. Yeah.
We should definitely do like a Teen Wolf Birds of Prey panel of like the like women villains and what like an alternate timeline would have been like if they just like formed a girl gang and were like lifting each other up. Okay, I really liked Birds of Prey, you guys. It was so good. And I feel like Teen Wolf did have some really badass women, and it would be so cool to explore what that would have been like if they had all been like, you know what? We've all been working so hard to get ahead in a man's world.
What? Right.
Fuck it.
Well, have you guys seen, it also reminds me of 355, if you've seen it yet.
Not yet.
I really want to see it. But
yeah, you should see it because it's, it's literally just all of these like top of their game spies from different agencies, and they're all literally trying to get the same thing. And so same story, but yeah, if you would have, that's a really interesting thought. Cause I mean, I think that'd be great actually to just see, them band together and let's see what they can do,
Yeah.
Original spinoff.
Yes.
Yeah, put it out in the universe. Put it out there.
Yes.
Do you have any fun stories from the Teen Wolf set that you'd like to share?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to. Nothing that sticks out. I'm trying to. Lots of laughs, you guys. We laughed a lot. I remember. I remember little things like. Well, I remember Tyler Posey had gotten a puppy, and he brought the puppy on set, and just so adorable. I remember just like, the puppy was kind of like the mascot, like everyone like check the dog out in between shots. And I don't have any specific stories. It was just a great group of people. It's honestly like from the heart, all I can say, like a lot of laughing, a lot of fun, super supportive cast. I mean, I can say I remember in Currents when Tyler Hoechlin and I had that fight, in the water. And this was one of the ones where I was like, okay, I'm going to do all my own stuff. I don't have to be hooked up to wires. I don't have to do flips. So I can do this. Right. And it was going great, except, barefoot, right? In water. It's like probably this much water on the ground. And I went to do a roundhouse kick to kick him. And I literally fell on my tailbone. Not so it's okay.
Okay.
But, little funny in the moment because, you're like feeling like, oh, I got, and then whoop, she was like, it should have been a blooper reel. But, I got back up. That's all that matters. Right.
Yeah.
That is all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, it was just a really fun set. Really fun set. Good times.
It's great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
In your opinion, who on the Teen Wolf set would have made the best alpha in real life?
Ooh. Honestly, Haley Webb would have been a great alpha. She would have been a great alpha. Like that's another like alternate storyline, who knows, had that last moment, with her and Cully gone differently. And to your point, they band together and she somehow in great Teen Wolf writing style can become a werewolf. She would have been amazing alpha. Yeah. Because she's not, I think because she has such a great combination of, she has the strength, but she has the compassionate heart. Right. So I think that's where those two worlds, if you're looking at like, why I love Scott's character so much, right? Because he is all those things. Like he is, the compassionate kind, wants everyone to be okay, wants to, just has that strong moral compass. Like, I think that's who Jennifer really is before such a betrayal.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting to see who people really are at the core of them. And then, what happens to you does shape you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, it's, the choice and how you handle it. Right.
Yeah. That's good.
So you mentioned previously that you thought Styles was really funny. Is he your favorite Teen Wolf character? And which character do you feel that you relate to most?
I gotta say Scott. I do. His heart, just like Tyler's so great in that role. Because that's really who he is in real life. Aww. So, I'm not saying he's not playing himself, but we bring a huge part of ourselves to every character. And I just think that, the caring and the consideration and the concern for other people is just something that speaks to me and resonates with me for sure. And I like that, seeing his evolution too. I think we saw him go from, like literally a kid who did, who was like, what happened to me, to what an amazing arc, right? And who he grew into. And yeah, he's my favorite.
That's
wonderful.
lovely.
Yeah.
What was the most challenging part of filming Teen Wolf?
I remember shooting a lot of late nights, and when you're, especially when you're, it's really any of the wolves, but especially with the alphas that season, I felt like there was just a lot of overnight shoots. So we would, we'd be out in Griffith Park sometimes, your call time would be 4:00 in the afternoon and you'd wrap at 6:30 in the morning. And then you were then driving home in like LA traffic and you're like, okay, I'm awake. How many cups of coffee do I need? So that was challenging. But that happens in lots of shows, right? So you learn to adapt, but I would say that would be the most challenging part. But again, it was fun. So, I don't know. I mean, like you said earlier, embarrassment of riches. Well, like, if you're doing something you love, is it really that hard? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Which is more fun to play, a good guy or a bad guy?
Well, bad guy, even though I tend to not like that label. I mentioned before, no one's good or bad, right? Everyone has inherently both, if you want to call it good or bad, but it's really just lightness and darkness, right? Like, and we all have a shadow side to ourselves. And I think, that sometimes can be perceived as bad, and it's not. It's a part of you that is there on purpose, and it's. I will say the fun part of playing a bad guy is, at least on TV and film, there's just a wider range of things you get to do. It gives you permission to, if you're traditionally a good guy, then there's not much room, right? You're good, right? So, you can't really go off the rails and have necessarily a bad day, because it doesn't really work within the storyline if that's who you are. So, in the context of your question, definitely a bad guy. It's just more fun. It's more fun, but like, bad guys have hearts too, right?
Yep.
So that's my favorite type of character to play. And it's because it's layered, right? I mean, like, if you're looking at, Joaquin Phoenix playing the Joker, oh my God. I mean, like, the range and the levels of things, you saw the vulnerability, you saw the hurt, you saw why he did, some of the things and made some of the choices that he made. Did he do a lot of horrible things? Yes, but you still see the humanity. And I think that's always the goal of playing any character,
Yeah.
Is that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay. Sorry. My dog got caught in my computer cord for a second.
That's not good.
She's okay. We're good. Do you have a favorite scene of Teen Wolf, either to film or to watch?
Ooh, I would say, I believe it was, I'm trying to remember the name of the episode. I think it was Frayed in the abandoned mall.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was so fun. That was so fun. I mean, first of all, this, like, that is actually an abandoned mall that they shoot lots of different things in. Yeah. And it's creepy. It's real creepy. There was smells. It was not clean, but it was perfect for what we were doing. And that was also, like, the first time, like, I was on a wire and I, slid down that, like, pillar, and that was super fun. And just all the stunts. I mean, we had the best stunt team. Like, I feel like Teen Wolf was doing stuff on shows, like, way before, all of these shows that you now see in, whether it's superhero stuff or, like, they were just ahead of their time. They were just doing things and really going for it. And that was just exciting. And it was just, there was an ambiance to that, to the set, and to just all the characters. I feel like that's when the Alpha Pack kind of started to really find who they were. So
yeah, nice.
Yeah, that was fun.
There's a lot of,
it looked like fun.
yeah, it did. And we've had, like, several people bring it up as being a very cool set to be
It
on.
was very cool. It was very cool. I do remember trying to find the bathroom and getting lost at some point. And there was, like, I, like, heard something. I was like, oh, it's like a family of rats. Cool.
Oh, wow.
Like, I'm going to go this way.
This ambiance is so realistic.
Yes.
They brought in rats. No, they just live here. Cool. Okay. But I did have shoes on, so that's good. I did put on, like,
That's good.
That is good.
Well, he's not walking barefoot there, just
Yeah.
in case you wondered.
There's a lot of crossover between Supernatural and Teen Wolf fans. What was it like playing Michael on Supernatural?
Oh my gosh, that was so fun. So I don't know, I must have this thing like of like playing like it, so playing Michael, I was the only female to ever play Archangel Michael. So still Archangel Michael, but embodied in, you know, in me. So that was really fun. I also did all my own stunts on that, which was really
So
cool.
dope.
Great.
Yeah. And it was cool because, you know, a lot of times, unless you've worked with the stunt coordinator before, they don't necessarily know what you can do. And I'm sure, you know, they have to deal with a lot of actors being like, yeah, I can do it. And so when we had our meeting kind of to walk through the choreography, they had my stunt double, you know, waiting in the wings. And the coordinator asked me what I was comfortable doing. I was like, well, all of it. And he's like, okay. And I was like, okay. So, and he actually had come from Lucifer. He worked on Lucifer for years. And I did a guest spot on Lucifer. So we knew some of the same people. So we were chatting. Anyway, we go through the first walkthrough and he's like, oh yeah, you are good. Oh, you can do this. And I was like, yeah, I can. So, and you know, it's just, I like to surprise people because they don't really see it coming, you know, which was fun, but getting to play, you know, Michael on, I mean, Supernatural, it obviously has had an incredible run. And Jared and Jensen are amazing to work with. Just again, two great human beings, great actors. And it's fun. It's fun playing a bad guy. Again, my eyes got to change and I didn't have to wear contacts this time, but they did
That's
get
good.
to change, which was fun. Yeah, it was a really great time. I think those fans too, just like Teen Wolf, like they go hard. So I'd
Very
like,
passionate.
yeah. So I think, you know, the comparison and to be able to be involved with the show that has such a great, you know, long history and so many fans is always fun. And I'm hoping one day, you know, when my son's older, like I can show him like, look at mommy, and he'll think I'm cool, you know?
Yes.
You know, like he's 4 now, so he has no idea. But when he's older, I'm like, see, your mom is cool, or she was.
Still cool.
Absolutely.
Still cool.
So cool.
Have you had any memorable fan encounters from any of these fandoms?
You know, I mean, it's unfortunate because of COVID, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of taken away some of the like being able to go to any of these like fan events. I know they're starting to have fan events again and whatnot. Nothing that really sticks out. I mean, the occasional person will be like, I think it was maybe a few months ago, I was at a restaurant and the waitress was like, you just look really familiar. And I was like, I do? You know, like, and I don't, because I'm not going to ever go through I'm not like, hi, I'm an actor. That's weird. But she eventually connected it and she got real excited and I took a picture. She's like, holy crap, you're Kali. And I was like, yeah. And it was really sweet. She was sweet. And she's like, I don't want to I was like, you're not imposing at all. Let's take a picture. And it's just, I mean, that's fun. It makes you feel good. It's nice to know that you, in some small way, if you can impact someone's life positively and they enjoyed something that you were a part of, like that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And it's great that you're able to have that moment with that waitress until she was reminding you that, you know, no shoes, no service. So
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, it's great.
are there any upcoming projects you can tell us about?
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on a bunch of stuff right now. So I finished season 1 of BMF, which is Black Mafia Family. It's Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent's new show. Snoop is in it. Yeah, it's based on a true story of one of the biggest drug cartels in the country, in our country's history. I play actually, I don't know, guys, this must be a running theme. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, huh. So I'm the female commander of the drug task force, and I'm literally the only woman who was the boss of a bunch of dude detectives. So again, I don't know.
There's something commanding about your presence.
Yes.
Something there. I will take it. So we're getting ready to go back for season 2 of that, which is great.
Nice.
I just finished season 1 of Queens on ABC, working with, icons like Eve and Brandy and Naturi Naughton and Nadine Velasquez. So that was really fun. Totally different vibe of show, but super fun. I am currently shooting Dynasty.
Nice.
So I am playing an indie film director on Dynasty. And we'll see what's next. But yeah, I'm busy. Yeah.
Awesome. That's good
Well, we
to
love
hear.
to hear it.
Yeah. It's exciting. Can't wait to see that stuff come out.
Thank you. I'm still waiting for, though, like, my ultimate dream role is badass, tough. I would love to be in a superhero type show or something with a group of women. I love that idea. Like I would love to see, something in that vein. So we're putting it out there in the universe. See what happens.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
Yes,
I'd love to see you in that
fingers
kind of role.
Me too. That'd be wonderful. So,
Yes.
well, Felicia, this has been an absolute pleasure getting
Yes.
to talk to you
Thank you
and to
so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
talk about a show that we all love very much, and just getting to stroll down memory lane back to Beacon Hills with you. And we really appreciate you joining us.
Of course.
Yes.
Thank you guys for having me. It's been a pleasure, and it's been fun for me as well, going down memory lane. So
Wonderful.
Yes,
Wonderful,
glad to hear it.
wonderful. Well, we hope you have a great rest of your day and get to spend time with family, and especially the sick kiddo. And we
It feels
will.
better soon.
Yes,
thank you.
absolutely. And we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Sounds good. You guys take care. Have a good rest of your day.
All right.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.